Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Harry Collection 852 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit and says, I heard my husband cry in the bathroom after we bumped into his ex. My husband and I met 2 years ago. He proposed to me 6 months later and told me he knew I was the one when he met me and that he didn't want to waste time or lose me. I was, and still is, head over heels and agreed. We've been married for 6 months and expecting our first baby. Last weekend we bumped into his ex. They were together for 9 years, but she ended the relationship when he didn't take the relationship to the next level. When we got engaged and married, my husband texted her to tell her and to apologize, and talked about fate and how some things aren't meant to be. I remember asking him why. He said that he owed it to her so that she doesn't hear it from other people and not be prepared. They broke up 3 years ago. Edit, not 4. It was October, December 2021. Bad math. She was pregnant and holding hands with a kid that could be 7 or 8 years old, and she was with a man who was obviously her partner, and they were very affectionate towards each other. My husband said hi, even though we could walk by unnoticed by them, but he insisted to talk. When we got home, I heard him crying in the bathroom. Now he's been depressed and distant the whole week. I realized he must have written to her after we got home, and he showed me his phone, and yes, he has. Again, apologized for what he did and told her that some things aren't meant to be. Would I be the arsehole if I confronted him about what's going on? Why is he doing this? Absolutely not the arsehole for wanting to confront this and find out what's going on, because of course you're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm trying to put myself in your position, OP, and I was hearing him crying over his ex like that. Yes, that'd be absolutely upsetting, but OK Perception says it sounds like he misses her. I'd be heartbroken if my husband felt this way about another woman. I'm sorry. Hot Interaction says, right, this whole thing is a lose-lose scenario. Uncle Ned is dead says, not the arsehole, but it sounds like that cliche story. Guy is happy with status quo and keeping the girlfriend around for 9 years. And while he says he's open to the idea of marriage, to string her along, he believes it's unnecessary and doesn't actually make plans to get an engagement ring or pop the question. He just assumes if he runs the clock, she'll be stuck with him for life. His ex decides that she's had enough of his pulsating words and realizes if she wants to get married and start a family, it can't or won't be with him. After she takes charge of her life and dumps him, he begs her to take him back and they will give her the ring and wedding that she wanted. But it's too little, too late. Curtains close on this relationship. He takes a year or so to heal and then finds you, who checks off most of his boxes, and instead of risking the same thing happening again, he proposes to you in 6 months of dating, and everything happens at warp speed because he has learned from his last serious relationship. Don't leave it up to chance. Don't string someone along. Him bumping into his ex made him realize he still had feelings for the one who got away. But if he hadn't been so stubborn and slow about getting a ring and making his ex happy, that could have been him. Again, apologized for what he did and told her that some things are not meant to be. He keeps telling himself that because it's easier to blame fate and absolve himself of being a shit boyfriend who was wasting her time and ruined the relationship single-handedly. I'm glad his ex got a happy ending. I'm sorry your marriage is starting to show cracks because your husband may be incapable of love and had a hidden agenda when marrying you. He might have married you to prove to his ex he could commit, like when he texted her about the engagement, rather than because of his deep and lasting love for you. So OP updates 7 hours later and says, hi again, I hope you read this, referring to the comment by Uncle Ned is dead. So I showed my husband this comment and I told him that this is basically how I feel things were, but that someone else wrote it better. First he got upset and defensive, then he started arguing and telling me to leave him alone. I have, for a week, been nothing but supportive and leaving him alone. Then he started crying and asked to read it again. He sat silent for like 15 minutes reading it, but not once did he deny or try denying or call me crazy or at least try to explain. If I know myself, this is over. I don't play second fiddle. I don't do consolation prize, and I'm absolutely not going to have another woman being the main character in my own story. So I told him this was over and that I need a break to sort out my feelings, but that this will eventually end in divorce because I know myself very well. He didn't say anything. Anything. Just sat silent. I know his type. The only way he will realize my worth is when he has lost me, just like he did his ex. People like him are frugal with their feelings. He strung her along because he didn't want to give her all of him. Then he turned around and gave me exactly what she wanted, but deprived me from exactly what I wanted that he gave her. Men like him will never give all of themselves because he probably thinks he would lose control if he gave all of him to a woman. What a waste of a man. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? That guy is messy. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story, which comes from Dentist Big 7041 from the True Off My Chest subreddit, and says, I got a text from my sister's bestie about her and my husband loving me too much to do anything to hurt me. My sister's bestie told me that she feels guilty for being a snitch, but that she couldn't do this to me anymore because she thinks I am a kind person and don't deserve this. My sister and my husband have always got along very well. They're both brilliant, both lecturers at the university, and they have so much in common. I'm not stupid, but I never loved school and I have a high school education. They've become best friends throughout the years, 14 years, but never once did I feel uncomfortable about it since my husband has shown me nothing but love and respect. The opposite. Until now, I counted myself lucky that the two people that I love the most in this world get along so well. But now I feel nauseated. The bestie sent me screenshots upon screenshots of her conversation with my sister. My sister has feelings for my husband, and she appears to know that my husband feels the same way about her too. In one of the texts, my sister wrote that she loved me too much to do anything to hurt me. In another, she wrote that I am too dear to both her and my husband to do anything that would hurt me. She seems to think that they are soulmates, which is odd because the talk about soulmates came up once between my husband and I, when I told him that I didn't want us to be soulmates. He was curious and asked me why. I told him because soulmates meant that we are programmed or destined to fit together. There's no free will involved, and I want my love to come from a free space, not a predestined place. He laughed and said he loved that, but apparently they are soulmates. I know that I need to talk to him, but I'm dreading that. I'm in so much despair right now. Edit. Hi, and thanks for your help. I asked how I'd be sure before asking my husband so he doesn't just blatantly lie, and you suggested to look into his phone. Thanks for your suggestion. I did now. I told him about my sister's conversations with her best friend and showed him the screenshots. He was shocked at first and said he had no romantic feelings for her and he had no idea about her feelings. So I asked to see his phone. I read their texts and emails, and I was shocked that their contact is way more intensive and intense than I thought. They talk on a daily basis. They have lunch multiple times a week. Nothing sexual in the text, but yeah, he is stupid if he doesn't know that she loves him. And he must think that I'm stupid if after reading, I wouldn't get the feeling that he has some feelings too. In one of her texts, she wrote that she wished they had met first and under different circumstances. His answer wasn't totally dismissive. He wrote, yeah, it would have probably been different. When I asked him about it, he wrote, yeah, it would probably have been different. When I asked him about it, he said, well, yeah, if he didn't know and love me, he probably would have been interested in another, my sister included, that he loves me and she is a close friend of his. So there's no sexual relationship between them, but I'm not sure that is enough for me. I think they are both wrong and should have nipped it in the bud way earlier. I don't know what to do now. I think I need time for myself to process this. I don't feel well at all about this, and I don't want to make decisions from a place of fear and hurt, nor convenience. I'm sorry I can't answer all the private messages because I don't use my phone that often. But our ages are, my husband is 45, I'm 42, my sister is 38. My husband and I have been together for 16 years and married for 14. My sister is single. I'm not a stay-at-home mum. I have my own business. We don't have children. My sister has 2 from a previous relationship. OP edits the post again and says, so now I've had some long talks and discussions with my husband. He seems to think that this is getting bigger than it is supposed to because I told him that I needed time alone to think and digest this. He said that he doesn't understand why I'm this hurt since he loves me and nobody else. I didn't relent, however, and he admitted that he knows my sister is in love with him because she has told him so. But she knows that nothing can happen between them, so she is fine with just friendship. Marta. He loves her but not romantically, and is happy to have a friend like her. Their friendship is important to him and he doesn't want it to end because I don't trust him and his love for me. He made a comparison to my best friend and asked what would I think if he asked me to cut my best friend from my life. He admitted that intellectually he has more in common with her than with me, but the heart doesn't always choose who we are more compatible with, and that he loves and is physically attracted to me. I think this whole situation is messed up. I'm repulsed by them both. I text my sister all her screenshots and she wrote that she was disappointed in her bestie and that your husband is all yours because I would never let anything happen that would hurt you because you are the most important person to me. In other words, they are both contradicting each other since both seem to believe that they are the one who is not letting a relationship between them grow for my sake. In the comments, Art Needs More Floof says you need to have an honest conversation with your husband, and if you have a hope of saving this relationship, he and you need to go low contact with your sister and you need couples therapy. Best case, your sister is suffering from limerence. Worst case, they're having an emotional or physical affair. Either way, inappropriate behavior has been happening that's been deliberately hidden from you. They say they don't want to hurt you. Behaving inappropriately hurts you. Lying about it and hiding it hurts you. They're already hurting you and they have not stopped it. I know this conversation fills you with dread, but here is the thing. It's not going to go away and is not going to get better until it is exposed to the light, aired out and addressed. Just tell yourself it's like going to the ER. You can't start to heal until the injury is found and diagnosed. You have found the injury. Now you have to find what the injury consists of and start treating it. As terrible as the possibilities are, I always find that the knowing for sure is easier to deal with than having the unknown dangling over my head like Damocles' sword. OP says, that's how I always felt. I'd rather know the truth until it happened to me and now I don't even know what to say. Marv says, if what the friends sent you is true, you need to take a moment and gather your thoughts before this talk you need to have with your husband. If possible, check his phone so you have a first-hand look at the communication, not the friend's one. If real, the emotional affair is more than enough of a betrayal. Please be careful. Opie says for me, even an emotional affair is a deal breaker, unfortunately. Environmental Art says don't bring it up with him until you're ready to see proof if it's there, because as soon as it's brought up, you need to see his phone so that nothing can be deleted and your sister can't be warned. He needs to hand over his phone straight away. Hyde and Short says to be honest, it fully could be one-sided. I agreed to look for his phone, but I would ask. I would first show him the messages, then see how he reacts. If he confirms, you got to the bottom of it all immediately, and you have no need to hurt yourself further with whatever is on that phone. If he denies, then I would check. Then if he says he's shocked too and he has no feelings for her, then you say, I hope you can understand my point of view when I ask if I can check your phone right now. It reassures me that you are shocked, but I need an extra layer of confirmation. Opie then added another post which was titled My soon-to-be ex-husband's and my sister's love for me was worth 1 week. This post came about a month later from the original. It says, I've written here in a few comments about my soon-to-be ex-husband and my sister. I left him about a week after and he texted me day and night about how much he loved me and wanted me back. Then he just stopped. That's when I found out that my sister left her children at my parents' house and moved in with my husband. This made everything come out to the rest of my family. My parents were shocked. My mother really looked like she was already showing PTSD symptoms. But how disgusting she felt this whole thing was. She kept calling it incest and asking if that's even legal. I guess that is how much my sister cared not to hurt me, if you read my first post. Even though I had been well composed and calm that I surprised myself, I still tried my hardest to look back on my whole life, childhood and upbringing to understand when it all went so wrong. What my sister did felt like something that was a result of years of resentment, or at least indifference towards me and our relationship as sisters. So how did I miss that? She never cared about me, did she? If she didn't, how could I have been so blind? Then, not even a week later, I heard that they have ended things. I found out in the oddest way possible. My sister texted me. The first time she texted me since everything started. She just wrote, "You B, I hope you burn in life and in hell." I was very confused because she spent that week sharing cheesy, deep quotes about love and soulmates and romantic Insta stories with my soon-to-be ex-husband. But apparently, that was over. Soon-to-be ex-husband has blocked her everywhere and she moved out. Because she came to my parents to get her children and had a meltdown when they asked for an explanation. Soon-to-be ex-husband started calling and texting me again, asking me to meet because he wanted to explain, because he loved me and wanted me to understand. He wanted to meet at least once before we started to meet with the lawyers involved. So that is that. This has left me even more confused than if they just ended up together. I understand falling out and in love, breaking up and starting anew, but I can't explain this. My soon-to-be ex keeps calling me his only love and true friend, and my sister, until I left, kept promising that she would never do anything to hurt me. She left her children at my parents' doorstep and didn't answer their calls or texts for a week. And all of this for a week. What were they thinking? Has anyone here heard of something like this happening? People throwing everything for not even a week. Opie came in the same day and says, after 1 week of being in love and my sister leaving her children at my parents' door to be living in my home with my soon-to-be ex-husband and flaunting everything on social media and sharing cheesy quotes, she moved back to her apartment and got her children from my parents. They aren't friends on Facebook and he unfollowed her on Instagram. Now she is saying that I have ruined her happiness, and he started texting me again begging to talk to me in private because he needed to explain everything before we started getting our lawyers involved between us. I understand that people fall out of love and sometimes they can't control who they fall for, and they can hurt many people around them, but I never heard of two people throwing everything they pretended to care about for 1 week. First commenter says, speak to my attorney. I'd have that as my outgoing voice message. Opie says I haven't answered any calls from him, his family, or unknown numbers. I don't answer texts either. I didn't have a great relationship with his family, especially his mother. We lost our child and they blamed me for us not wanting more children afterwards, when it was both's decision. Lost and Dumbfounded says, from your last post it seems like maybe your ex realized they had too much in common, or that the idea of them being together didn't match the reality, and your ex decided to end it rather than forcing it. It's unhinged that your sister went from, "You're the most important person to me," to "rot in hell." You left and she had what she wanted, your husband. Him no longer wanting to be with her has nothing to do with you. Opie says, not only in hell but in life too. I felt cold reading her text of her gaslighting me for so many weeks, and years really. Opie then says, no, I left him after he insisted on meeting her for lunch to discuss my distress. I left him and gave him divorce papers. That was a week after my original post. Then a week after she dumped her children at my parents' place and went to him. He doesn't want children. Then less than a week later, she moved back to her home, sent me a message to say I ruined her and took her children back. My parents visit to take the children out for dinners and playdates. My sister hasn't talked to them yet. And Georgia says, that text from your sister as everything imploded around her is fascinating. Truly. She takes zero responsibility for blowing up her own life, your soon-to-be ex's life, or your life. I don't know how much responsibility your soon-to-be ex is feeling. She dumps the blame for her distress in its entirety on you. The total absence of any sense of personal responsibility is, from a distance, fascinating. Your sister wouldn't be the golden child in your family, would she? I'm sorry the two of them have done this to you. No one deserves this sort of betrayal. Opie says no, according to her, I was the golden child. I guess she is right about that too. It just shows the bullshit that they was talking in the original parts of the post, that no one wants to hurt Opie, but then a week later they're jumping in together. And all I can really say is, I'm sorry that you've had to go through and you're still going through that, Opie. I also feel sorry for her children. What was the end game with that situation? You know, she jumped into living with the ex in it. Was she never going to pick her kids up again? Was that it? It's really bizarre, I found. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for Getting involved in today's stories, your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on and it will automatically scroll through all the videos for you. So whatever you're up to, maybe you're doing a bit of gardening in this lovely sunshine today. I know some of you are going to go, "It's not bloody sunny here." We had people in the past out in their truck going cross country. I love to hear that. I find that wild. Loads of people doing art, crochet, all that good stuff. Don't forget to let me know what you're up to whilst listening at Mark Narrations over on Twitter. I refuse to call it that other name because I'm spicy like that. Ooh, sassy so-and-so. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.